Hello everybody and welcome back to the Albion News Gaming channel. And today we are back with the 8th episode of the THROSTLECAST. Quite a big episode today, got quite a bit to talk about, got 3 important discussions, but first, make sure to subscribe with the notification bell so you never ever miss a video, a masterpiece of a video, because everyone is. Anyway, all seriousness, subscribe, comment tips. If you're enjoying this series, I always love reading your comments. Great support. And still, thank you for the support. Make sure to subscribe because we are going for 8 subscribers by the end of the year. 3 months ago, I thought 50 I might be asking for too much for. But you guys have smashed it. Absolutely smashed it out of the park. Like a clearance over the Halfords lane and when you're under pressure. Smashed it out of the park. I can't believe it. We're on 75 subscribers. This has been the fastest growth the channel has ever got. So thank you. But let's say what those 3 things are. You can probably guess. A Manchester United reaction, TAKEOVER preview, Sheffield United reaction. If you've clicked on this, not being a West Brom fan, please make sure to stay. We're going to talk about it. Just listen. And if you're a West Brom fan, thank you for watching. Anyway, let's start off with the Manchester United reaction. I think, performance-wise, a positive performance, and not a terrible result. They're a good side. But for me, we should have won. Not we could have won, not like Tottenham, not like Burnley, not like Brighton. We should have won. The decisions didn't go our way. And let me just quickly clarify. Everything I've said and will say is an opinion. It is one of my opinions on the football match. I am not stating that as a fact. It is an opinion. So for me, let's go off chronologically, and then I can explain my thoughts. So we started off quite well. Johnston made some good saves from Martial and from others. Grant went through on goal. It took a deflection. So that was our first real chance I can remember. Bartley had a header that almost went in at the end of the first half. That would have been amazing to be 1-0 up at half time. Then in the second half, we started off well and we got a penalty as Gallagher was mercilessly hacked down by Bruno Fernandes. Just joking. But Hernandez did kick his shin. He did get a bit of the ball, but for me, not enough to warrant what happened, and that was the penalty. That was the penalty being overturned. I think a very poor decision, and it seems you wonder if there's biases, if there's some bias in there to the big sides. You certainly wonder, because 10 minutes later, Manchester United got a penalty. Now, okay, fair play, it probably was a handball in the new rules. But it's not consistent, because the next day, Liverpool player does exactly the same as, well, not exactly, but still handballs it like Furlong did, and it's not a penalty. But that's Liverpool, we're West Bromwich Albion. They're a bigger side than Leicester. Manchester United are a bigger side than us. Just seems, now this is my opinion, that there is bias, that there is some bias there. That's just my opinion anyway. What else was I going to say? Yes. And then Robinson hits the bar. Townsend pulls off a great save from De Gea. So, yeah, it was a disappointing result in the end. Well, not a disappointing result, but we should have won. We really, really should have won. And you look at other fans, and even Manchester United legends like Paul Scholes and Rio Ferdinand, they said that the overturning the penalty was ridiculous. And in the build-up to the Manchester United penalty, Gallagher was fouled. Is there a rule that's come into the game saying you can't have a free kick? It's no, you can foul Gallagher all you want, and you're not going to be. It's not going to be a foul, is it? This is twice this has happened to us, though. This happened to us in the Chelsea game, where one of our players, Furlong in the Chelsea game, was fouled in the build-up to their goal, and VAR hasn't picked it up. What's the point in having VAR if the referee has made a clear and obvious error when the player has been fouled and they've managed to get an advantage of it. We may as well just not have any rules in football. May as well just play that FIFA mode, you know, the no rules that you play in kickoff, that you only, that, to be fair, doesn't really get played much, but it's always fun to play with other people, kickoff, but it's just, it's really frustrating, especially when you know you should have won a game. We should be on 8 points rather than 3 this season, which would see us in 17th, to be fair. But we would be like, we would have a 4-point lead rather on 18th. So yeah, that would be, you know, a lot better. And we would only be like literally 5 points off from 10th. So yeah, we really should have won that game. It was a very, very, you know, but a good performance. We're playing well, and for me, our problem isn't the defence anymore. Like, if you asked me what our main problem that we need to sort out was about 3 months ago, or like just a month ago, I would have probably told you it's our defence. At the moment, I think it's our attack. We can't see us score goals. We can create chances. We have these nearly moments in game. Manchester United, we hit the bar, we should have a penalty. Tottenham, Grant almost scores a header twice when Dyer, or I don't know how he would have put it in, but Dyer only just gets the ball away. At Fulham, we didn't have any chances, and Brighton, we did score, but Burnley, you know, Grant almost scores another header. He does score a header, but it's offside. You know, we're having these nearly chances where we almost score, but we can't score, and that's a massive problem. We've scored 1 goal in our last 6 games, which is pretty poor. How many goals have we conceded? I think we've conceded about 8. That's literally me going off the top of my head. We'll see how many goals we conceded later when we do the Sheffield United preview. But all in all, Manchester United, my final thought was that I'd give it a 7 out of 10 performance. Good performance, but it needs to be the bare minimum. So we've had 2 good performances now. We need to play like that against Sheffield United. We really need to. But we'll preview Sheffield United a little later after we talk about the ownership. But that would be after I tell you my man of the match, which I would say would be Sam Johnston. So yes, that is it. Now, today we have heard news break out via the ever-reliable John Percy. Literally, in terms of like football reporters that cover loads of clubs, just not like one club reporters, loads of club reporters. I think you've got John Percy right up there with with Fabrizio Romano. He's so reliable, and I think definitely we are in takeover talks, or unless we're telling this to find a buyer. That would be the only other reason this is happening, but I'm sure that's not the case. So it's an American outlet. We don't know who it is, but it's apparently a company that wants to take us over for £150 million. My thoughts on this: is it good news? Is it bad news? I don't know. I don't know if this is good news or bad news. Like Matt Wilson used to say, you can never judge a transfer window until the end of the season. Similar with this, you can never judge if this is good news until we know what this owner's going to be like. They could be much better than like. We could turn into Manchester City, Chelsea, Wolves, one of these sides, challenging for Europe. Wolves aren't there just yet, but they could get there. But we could be in League 2 within 5 years. You never know with a new owner coming in. You never know what's going to happen. I think realistically the best and worst thing that'll happen, the best being, I seriously think maybe we could be a mid-table side, a top 10 side, you know, like your Southamptons, like your Aston Villas. Maybe not as much money, because Aston Villa do put a lot of money into their side, but maybe, you know, Southampton, who are in 5th, by the way, Leeds, that kind of side. Okay, Leeds aren't mid-table yet, they've got a good owner. And if I'm honest, and the worst case scenario, sorry, is that I think we just don't get investment. We're still just relying on being self-sufficient, or maybe even not self-sufficient, and we get even less funds than we have under our current owner. But all I want is an owner who cares. I'm not begging to be the next Manchester City, the next Chelsea. You know, a side that's been taken over and Okay, Manchester City and Chelsea have got good histories, but they've not got a good... This is the best time, Manchester City or Chelsea. Whereas Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester United probably had just as good as a history than they are now. But Manchester City and Chelsea, this is their best part of their history. I'm not asking to be one of the world's biggest clubs. That would be amazing. Of course, I'd love that to happen. But I'm not asking for an owner that's going to come in and just make us that. I just want an owner who puts just 20, 30 million pounds in the club. 40 million pounds in the club I'd settle for. Now that sounds like a lot, but it really isn't in today's market. Leeds United are 14th in the table, and they spent about 70 million pounds. I would guess around that much money. I don't know how much they spent, but let's say about 20 million pounds for Rafinha, about 50 million pounds for Llorente, could have even been more. About 10 million pounds for Koch. Helder Costa, I think, might have been taken from last budget, like Mateus Pereira was, because I think they might have had an option to buy. But Rodrigo for 27 million pounds. Elan Meslier probably cost about 3 or 4 million pounds, maybe even more, maybe less. I don't know. But if Leeds, so that's about 70 million pounds I calculated earlier. If Leeds United had a 20 million pounds budget coming into the season, that means that their owner has invested about 50 million pounds into the club also. That's what you need to stay up these days. You look at other clubs. You look at Brighton, who are about where are Brighton? They are 16th. How much did Brighton spend? Well, they didn't spend much actually this year, but they have spent a lot in previous years. But even okay, look at Crystal Palace. How much did they spend this year? Crystal Palace spent 20 million pounds on Eze. Okay, actually, this isn't proving my point. You know, people are actually spending quite a bit of money. But you get my point. You need to invest in your club to spend, because this isn't just Palace. This isn't just like Palace. Like Palace have had investment over the. Palace have invested in their side over the years to be able not to spend as much money. I mean, Vincent Guaita must have probably cost about 10 million pounds. Batshuayi is on loan, but Kouyaté about 8 million pounds. You know, the average fee for about a player, it seems, is about 10 million pounds these days, or something like that. We need an owner that's going to invest, and I really hope this owner can be the answer to our problems, because historically we're a top 10, we're Premier League quality side. We might stay up this season, but I think if we spent another 20 million pounds, I think we would be definitely staying this season. It's I don't know. I hope this deal will get done. I mean, apparently it could be as low as it could be low as just a 15% stake in the club, or it could be a full takeover. So really hoping that it all works out well for us and the takeover goes through. It's a good owner, cares about the club, invests money into the club. That's just what I want. Let me know down below, what do you think of this owner situation? Do you think it's good news? Do you think it's bad news? Yeah, just let me know. I think that's pretty much it about the owner thing that I can think of, to be honest. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The owner situation could be good, could be bad. I mean, hopefully they won't drive us into extinction. Now, let's just quickly preview the Sheffield United game. Now, Sheffield United is coming up on Saturday. It's coming up on Saturday, the 28th of November at 8 o'clock. It will be shown on Sky Sport. Now, Sheffield United are bottom of the table with 1 point. We are second from bottom with 3 points. So not a great start for either side. We have drawn, lost. That's our last 5 games. They have drawn, lost. So they've got 1 point from their last 5 games. We've got 2. Now, our games, of course, come from a 1-0 loss to Manchester United, a 1-0 loss to Tottenham, a 2-0 loss to Fulham, a 1-1 draw against Brighton, and a 0-0 draw with Burnley. My mic just fell over. I'm sorry about that. If that might have caused a bit of rustling. Sheffield United have lost 1-0 to West Ham, lost 4-1 to Chelsea, lost 1-0 to Manchester City, lost 2-1 to Liverpool, and drew 1-1 against Fulham. So they did better against Fulham than we did, to be fair to them. And my microphone's fallen over again. My word. I'm sorry about this. I'll try and hold it steady. Yes, so for me, we've got to score. We've got to keep a clean sheet against Sheffield United. Manchester United, they can attack well. Tottenham, they can attack well. Fulham, to be fair, can attack well. They scored 2 against Everton in the last game. Sheffield United have scored 4 goals this season. We've only scored 6. So if we're gonna score, we've got to score. We've got to keep a clean sheet against them. We have conceded 18. They've only conceded 15. So it looks, to be honest, a 0-0 would not surprise me. Really wouldn't surprise me. And we've got to win. I would rather win. I would rather lose but have a chance of winning than take a draw, if you know what I mean. I'd rather chance a win or a loss than take a draw, is what I meant to say. Because if we win, we might stay up. If we draw or lose, we're going down. If we can't be at the moment the worst side in the league. So yeah, it's gonna be a ride, to say the least, this season. It's gonna be a ride. And one that hopefully we can win. For my prediction, I am going to say, well, my heart says a 2-0 win to the Baggies. My head says a 2-0 win, 2-1 win, 2-0 win to Sheffield United. I just fear that, looking at their games, they've lost to some pretty big sides. They've almost won. I just fear we're just not gonna. They're gonna have a good performance. We're just not gonna turn up. I don't want to be a pessimist. I don't want to be a fearmonger, and I don't want to be a dooms merchant. Is it a fear merchant and a doomsmonger? I think I got it the right way round. I'm sorry, I'm just not optimistic about this game. I just can't see anything that I think we can win. And my side that I would like to play is what I'm going to do as a little feature. What I'd say would be Johnston, with a backline of Furlong, O'Shea, Ivanovic and Njai. I would drop Bartley. I don't think he's been bad. I just think Ivanovic is better. I would then also play Townsend. Then I'd go with Krivinovic, Gallagher and Pereira in midfield, with Callum Robinson and Carlin Grant up front, playing with a 5-3-2 formation. I think that's what we play the best under. Anyway, that is pretty much it for today's episode. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you're new around here, subscribe. If you're a current person, subscribe. Just subscribe, basically. See you all in the next one. A goodbye.